Good morning. You're with us today, and we have an interesting guest, and we also have the executive director of the station on, which is probably not a first for you, but it's a first for me. With us today is Stacey Niedenthol and Jenny Hawran. Jenny's the station, the executive director, and Stacey is coming to us from Pennsylvania. So we're doing a Zoom meeting. She kindly said she would do this with us. And Stacey is an intuitive, a psychic medium, and she has written a book called "My Heart Knows, but my head knows, but my heart still hurts." And it's a grief journal, which got I think it got a good rating. Did it? You won an award for that in
Yeah,
2022 this
I
year.
won a couple awards.
Oh, did you? Congratulations.
Yes.
And there's so
Yes.
many people out there, especially around the holidays, that feel horrific grief. And the first loss, I was in a gift store the other day and took my mother. Oh, there you go. Okay. And we could talk about that at the end too, where they can get it.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So it's a journal, right? It's for people to journal to try to get through things and give hints and things like that. Okay. The holidays are a bad time for most people. We've all lost or missed someone, and I was in a gift shop the other day and bought my mother, who has dementia, in. And she just wanted to look around, and the girl at the register said, "Oh my God, you remind me of my grandmother. She passed away this time last year." And when my mother opened her mouth, her grandmother was from the same area my mother is. And the girl burst into tears. So now I'm in a gift shop trying to do shopping, holding somebody who's tearing on my face. So I'm aware. Plus, I've had my own serious losses. You're very well respected. You do energy work, and you do energy work afar also, correct? Can you do energy work
Yes.
from,
Yes.
okay. You have clients out there in the Chambersburg area. And today, I think that Jenny is going to, she chose an angel card reading from you. Can you tell us what an angel card reading is?
Well, an angel card reading, it's a basically a psychic read on your energy, on what your angels want to give to you as guidance.
Mhm.
So it's a past, present, future, your path and your challenge. So it just kind of makes you aware of what your angels are seeing that's around you. They're validating things that are happening and giving you hints what path they want you to go on to either correct them or continue with it.
Okay. Okay. So I'm going to kind of back away right now, or I'll stay here but keep my mouth shut and let you talk to Jenny, one of my favorite
Hi,
people.
Jenny.
Hi.
So have you ever had an angel card reading or a reading done before?
I haven't. I mean, I'm really fascinated. I've had a reading before, but I'm really fascinated with, the process, and I'm really fascinated how you. I mean, I'm not interviewing you, but I'm fascinated how you knew you had this ability too.
That's a good question. I didn't ask. I usually do. Yeah.
That's okay. That's okay. So, I didn't really know that I had this when I was growing up. I just kind of thought that I was weird.
Oh.
I just kind of knew things, or things were kind of odd to me. And about, oh, I don't know, 11 or 12 years ago, I started having extreme panic attacks where I was having 15 and 20 panic attacks a day. I would feel like my throat was closing up. I felt like I was leaving my body. Literally, I would sit on the floor between my husband's legs and have him put his hands on my shoulders because I felt like I was leaving my body.
Oh.
I couldn't handle ticking clocks. Made me feel like my world was coming in on me. Um, and it was just, I couldn't leave the house and I couldn't stay home. It was just one of those things where I didn't feel like I fit where I was at. And I went to my doctor and have a very good relationship with my doctor. And I was like, I am either onset dementia, schizophrenic, Alzheimer's, something. And he just kind of laughed. He's like, "You're not even 50 years old. You don't have dementia." And I said, "Well, something's going on because I'm seeing and feeling and, all of these noises." And I thought I was going, it's like schizophrenia. And I went to counseling and I did all the meds and it kind of numbed it, but it was still very much there. And my mother got sick in April and with lung cancer. And all of a sudden, like I was focused on her. So the panic attacks and things went away. But after she passed, I went to a medium and she pulled me to the side and basically said to me, Spirit has a big job for you. You either need to tune in or close it down. Otherwise, they're going to make you crazy.
Wow.
So she explained my panic attacks. She explained how ticking clocks happened and things like that. And I came home and talked to my husband about it. And of course, he's like, "You're a child of God and this is evil." And,
Yeah.
and so I had a long conversation with God and just said, if this is what you want me to do, you have to put people in my path. You have to let me know that I'm not being tricked, because I'm born and raised in the church. The adversary is tricky, and I might be being tricked. And he started putting people in my path that was just absolutely remarkable. I met one person 80 miles from me who ended up living, just a few miles from me here, who connected me with his sister who was in Colorado, who was coming to Chambersburg, and it just all like fit. And I remember praying one day as I was driving to Ocean City and talking to God about it. And I'm like, I need a sign so big that I can't miss it. And you know how the development signs are in front of a housing development? It said Spirit Way. So I'm like, okay.
That's a quick answer.
So I ended up finding him. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
crazy.
quick answer for
And
you.
I would always say, make sure I don't miss it. And the woman that I met from Colorado connected me because it was funny when she and I spoke. I asked her to mentor me, and she said, "Oh, I don't do what you do." And I'm like, "What do I do?" And she said, "You talk to the dead." And I'm like, "No, no, no, no." She said, "Yeah, yeah, you can communicate." And she connected me with a woman in Australia who ended up mentoring me. And about my third class, she was like, "You don't need me. You just need to trust what you know." And once I started practicing and doing readings, I haven't had a panic attack, anxiety attack since.
Wow.
You know,
Wow.
and I know that this is what has always been planned for me. When my third eye opened, it took me back to a time when I was probably in second or third grade where I had this nightmare of an eye chasing me around. So I know that when I was in, I guess it was about second grade. And it's funny how when I saw this, I was instantly back in my childhood bedroom, freaking out because of this eye. That I had this when I was a kid, but it scared me.
You closed down, and maybe it was a lot of people tapping on your shoulder saying, "Pay attention to us." And I'm glad you asked the question. That's really fascinating.
Yeah.
'Cause
I'm always interested how
Yeah.
people know they have this gift. So I'm really excited to see what you see today.
And
for
almost
me.
every one of them think they're crazy. They think there's something wrong with them. They think, they don't feel that it's a natural thing. And a lot of them do. We've had several ones just like, I'm not going to do this. And then the pull is too strong. They have to do it. It's their path. They have to do it.
Yeah.
So that's an
Yeah, 'cause
interesting experience.
it was really very trying. My husband is a very good guy, and I trust him completely. But I'll tell you, when I was going through this, I couldn't even make a decision.
Yeah.
When I was going through the panic attacks, you would have to call me and say, "Are you up?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not up. I need you to get up and take a shower." And I'm like, "I don't want to." And, "Do I need to come home from work?" He really stepped up and has been my rock through the whole thing. And once I opened up to spirit and the panic attacks all left, it was just like, oh my gosh, like I'd been ignoring it, I guess, for so many years that it had bubbled up enough to say, "Look, we're knocking at your door. You need to do this."
Well, we're glad that that
Been 8
part of
years
you is
now.
healed then. We're glad that if that's what it took. That's terrible, 15 panic attacks a day. But if that's what it took to get you where you are to help other people, that's what you had to go through,
Yeah. Yeah, and what I found with a lot of mediums, they've got a lot of trauma or a lot of things that they need to overcome that was in their past, that once they overcame it, things opened up. So it's almost like you were fighting
Your nature.
with yourself
Yeah.
and depression instead of listening to spirit.
So are the angels that you're reading today, are they my angels or are they your angels speaking to you?
They're a little bit of both.
Oh, cool.
So what I do is and I'll set my intention here in a few minutes, but what I'm doing is I'm asking my angels and your angels to kind of come together to be able to help me to draw some cards for you.
Okay.
And the cards are just kind of the tool that gives me an idea of where I need to go. And you'll notice that I'll be looking off to the left and listening or maybe having a conversation as I'm talking to you. So just
I'm
kind of
ready
ignore
whenever you
that. Know that
I'm ready
my
whenever
head's
you
not going
are.
to spin. I'm not going to spit pea soup.
All
I
right.
just have conversation. Okay.
Right.
All right. So before I start then, I always like to set my intention just so you know who I am and what I'm about. It's also that kind of light switch to my angels and my guides into spirit that I'm open and ready to channel. So my name is Stacey. I am a psychic medium. I'm a child of God and I'm a spiritual healer. And I've been given a gift from God to channel spirit using love and light for my higher good and the higher good of those that God puts in my path. I'm not the medium that says I see death all around you and you're going to be dead in 10 days. My gift, my prayer is that God, that spirit, that angels bring in the most loving message to help your spirit heal. When spirit comes through to me, and spirit's anyone who has been of this earth and has crossed over, they come through on my right. So if I'm talking to you and I'm looking to the right, I'm just connecting better with spirit. Angels come through on my left, so it's the same thing where I may be looking to the left. I set that up years ago when I started seeing, feeling, hearing, because I couldn't discern who was talking to me. So if you've walked this earth and you've passed away, you pull me to the right. If you're angelic, pull me to the left. Since we're doing an angel card reading, it'll mainly be over here, but you never know, spirit might pop in as well. I don't argue with spirit. They give me a message for you, for me, for today, or for tomorrow. So if I say something that doesn't completely make sense to you, especially since this is your first angel card reading, just keep it in the back of your head and know that it'll make sense. A lot of times, especially with first time sitters, when I talk to them about something, they like, I don't know, I don't know. And then as soon as they get in their cars, like it pops into their head. I had a reading a few years ago with my daughter, and the medium was saying to me, I've got this father figure around you. And I'm like, no, my father's still alive. And my daughter was like, Mom, Dad's dad. And I'm like, oh, yes, father figure, my father-in-law. So it doesn't always dawn on you during the reading, but know that it'll convey the message it needs to when you are ready for it, I guess is the best way to say it. Any questions at all about that?
Nope.
Okay, all right. So Jenny, I'm just going to shuffle the cards here for a second. And I'll probably be quiet for a minute and then I'll pull the cards. The only disadvantage to having it on Zoom is you won't see the cards until I actually bring them up in front of you. But just give me a second here. So this is for Jenny. Okay. Okay. So I do past, present, future, your path, and your challenge. And your past card, I don't know, can you see that? Is that good?
Mhm.
The past card is showing me new beginnings. So, I just got chills. So what they're conveying to me is it feels as if you've had to start over several times in the past, where it's almost where, not that you lost everything, but it was almost like you had to start from ground zero again. And how they're showing me is every time that you had to restart, there were brand new lessons that you learned, and how it's showing is a lot of times it was, 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, but they were all very good growing periods for you. So does this make sense to you that you've had to restart from ground zero a few times in the past?
Well, yeah, as a mother, I've had lots of different jobs, and I've had to kind of redefine myself each time I move on to a different thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and it almost feels, it doesn't feel like it was like you lost everything. It just feels like it was just a brand new beginning for you, like a new chapter. Sometimes people were teachers all their lives and they quit teaching and they decided they want to be nurses. But it just feels like there was all these new beginnings until you finally like settled into where you need to be. And that makes sense to you?
Yes.
Okay. For the present, they're showing me that you are focusing on freedom. So when you're focusing on your freedom, and this is present, so your angels are validating. Oh, they're making me warm. They're validating that you're doing this right now. So you're starting to get rid of the things that no longer serve you. Those little, they're showing me like little gnats, little things that kind of like poke at you that have agitated you in the past, and you're now to the point where you're like, you know what? I'm just going to let that go. It's not going to bother me anymore. I don't need that. You're like wiping your slate thing from uh, nuances is how they're coming through. So I understand. So were you a big worrier at one time and you've decided that, you know what, I can only focus on one thing at a time and I can't worry about that anymore because it's not good for me.
Yes.
So it lets me know that you're focusing on that freedom of
Yeah.
letting that go.
Yeah, definitely been a thing for me lately, just to say, you know what, I'm just going to let it go. I'm just going to let it go. So yeah, that's very accurate.
So your angels and your guides are, it's almost like, yay, finally.
Yeah, it's just a work in progress, though. I mean,
She's learning. She's learning.
you can ask my staff here. It's still a work in progress, but don't just let things go.
Validating that they're seeing the growth with you with
Yeah.
that, and they're just calling attention to it to like keep you on that path.
Yeah.
Okay. The future is bringing in spiritual growth. And what you'll find is when you start to release those things that no longer serve you, those little things that like cloud your memory or make your mind like a hamster in a habit trail, all of a sudden you'll start to feel lighter and your energy will be better and you'll smile more and be more open to receiving things as well as giving things. So this spiritual growth is going to be all part of this as well. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
The path to that is self-acceptance and support, right? Yeah, support. I'm trying not to have a glare on that, right?
Yeah.
So know that, how do you want me to say that? So, okay, so we'll start with this one. So when they're talking about self-acceptance, this is accepting yourself for who you are and what you do, whether you're for any, okay. They keep telling me a sentence that I always say. I always say, I'm not for everybody. And that's okay. It used to bother me when someone would say, you know, I don't like what you do, or I had to like try to prove myself to them that I was a good person. And they, well, what do you mean you don't like me? How about I don't like you? How about that? You know, I've gotten past that where I'm like, you know what? The people that need to be around me that will support me through anything that I can support will come. I don't need to like reel them in. So this is that self-acceptance part that when you walk into yourself, when you have accepted who you are and not try to get validations from others or prove yourself to others, because I feel as if when you've walked into yourself, that kind of the proof is in the pudding with that. You'll earn respect from those who see what you've done. You don't have to command it. It will just be shown to you. Does that make sense?
Sure. Yeah.
And it will happen because you're fully supported by your guides and your angels. They're putting you on this path and putting people in your path that are going to raise you up. And it feels like it's going to be both ways. It feels like it's been very one-sided for you for a very long time, where you've always helped bring people up to the surface and you've kind of like faded into the background. They're going to be bringing people where it's going to be a win-win on both sides. Does that make sense to you?
I think so.
Your challenge is guardian angels. Okay? Your guardian angels are around you. They're hearing your prayers. They're seeing what you're trying to manifest. But it isn't always in your time. It's in their time. So it's calling attention to your guardian angels. It's talking to them. Have you ever had one of those moments where you're like, whoo, somebody was watching over me?
Oh yeah.
Right?
Definitely, yeah.
That's your guardian angel. That's when you go, oh, thank you. I saw that. Keep it up. Know that your guardian angels are around you. And just it's almost like trusting that they are putting the things in your path when you need it, and then acknowledge it. It feels as if some things are just going to kind of fall into your hands here very soon, and just go, you know what? I don't know how that happened, but thank you. Keep it up. All right. So when we walk into faith with our guardian angels, when we allow our guardian angels to lead us on the right path because they are supporting us, right? Helping us to self-accept who we are, which is all part of our spiritual growth, because we've focused on our freedom, and allowed things to be released. And what this is a whole new beginning for yourself. It's almost like, oh, that breath of fresh air where I don't need to carry all this baggage and all this luggage with me because I've walked through all of this. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. That sounds.
That sounds great. That sounds really encouraging.
So what can you validate with that?
I know that, coming up, I mean, I'm thinking about retirement. I'm thinking about a whole bunch of new things. So that kind of makes sense to me. It validates what you're saying, how that's going to look going forward, and, how will I identify myself not being working anymore? That's a big one for me. It's like, okay, who am I? So yeah, that definitely makes sense to me. Absolutely.
Oh, great.
Absolutely.
Great.
Thank you.
Well, the angels know.
Well,
I'll be
thank
giving you a call.
That
I'll be
was
giving you a call,
fascinating.
so.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Can you talk about your website, how people can get a hold of you, and talk about your journals again, where they can find them? Obviously on your website. If people want readings,
The website is connecting.
yeah, how they can
The
connect
website
with
is
you.
connected. I'm sorry?
How they can connect with you if they want a reading.
Okay. So you can go to the website, which is connecting to spirit with Stacey. .com is the website. My Facebook group and my page, they're all connecting to spirit with Stacey. I do have a podcast. I have a newsletter. I mean, there's multiple ways to get a hold of me. But probably the email or the website's going to be the best way to get a hold of me. And the website's a little bit under construction with scheduling appointments, so it's a little old school right now, where through an email we send back a couple dates until we get it scheduled. But and what I did with this angel card reading is just part of the reading that I would do for someone when they would come in.
And also connect somebody if their loved one's passed and wants to come through. You could connect them with that as a psychic medium. And okay, that sounds good. Again, Stacey, this will be running in late December, and it'll be running multiple times through the month. And I want everybody to look for Stacey because she's done some interesting readings. She's got 2 bestsellers. What the book? You got the Book Fest Award, right, for 2022. And is this a fairly new book, so that you got the award the year you wrote the book?
I actually got the Firebird Award the year I got the book.
Okay.
Because let me think. August was a year that I did this.
Right.
I was best Amazon new author seller.
Oh, okay.
When it first came out, and then the bookseller was just a couple weeks ago.
Well, congratulations.
Thank
You're
you.
doing good work.
And it's available on Amazon. You can get this on my website as well.
Okay.
But it's a 30-day grief recovery journal. It basically helps you to remember what you had instead of staying stuck on what you've lost.
I know somebody that runs a grief support group, and I will suggest that to him because he's looking for materials. He's got about 10 people in his group, and he's a pastor, so I'm going to recommend that to him. But thank you for joining us today. It's always interesting. We just started here and Hereafter less than a year. Mm-hmm. We've had some really fascinating guests on, and Jenny and I are very fascinated with how so I'm glad you asked that question. And we were so happy that you said yes to come on. I know you took time out of your busy day.
Thank you so much.
So, thank you.
Thank you.
And I hope I'll be talking to you soon. I'll be
get in touch with me.
Okay, thank you, Stacey. Have a good rest of your day.